Not yet. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. I'm Christopher Haraki, Senior Code Contributor Program Manager, and with us we have Sam, George, and Jeremy, which I'm gonna introduce you to them in briefly. Before that, welcome to another session, hackathon session. This is the last session of the day. There is another one tomorrow, which is the wrap up of the hackathon. Let me quickly share my screen for some reminders regarding the hackathon. So you can find all the necessary information about the hackathon on the hackathon website. There you can find the sessions that happened earlier today. You can find, if you're new to GitLab, you can find a link to the contribute page where you can find ways to contribute code to GitLab. Or you can also as well find something that we added today, which is about GitPod, how you can set up your development environment with GitPod, so you don't have to spend a lot of time setting up your development environment locally. GitPod offers a lot of nice features, saves a lot of your time. You can also find on the hackathon page as well links with suggested issues for this hackathon to work on. And the counter, we have 44 merge requests so far submitted in the past 10 hours, which is exciting. Thank you all. The prizes, as well as the sessions with the links to participate and the recordings of the sessions that already have happened. Every time the session is complete, we update the website, so feel free to join them. And an important reminder, because here at GitLab, we want to have safe and inclusive events. Please keep in mind that we enforce the community code of conduct. So in case that you see or have face an inappropriate behavior, please feel free to reach out to us at contact@gitlab.com. We're keeping an eye on all our comments, merge requests, and also Gitter in case we notice inappropriate behaviors. But please feel free to reach out in case that you don't feel safe. Speaking of reaching out, there is also the contributors Gitter room. In case you have any questions, you want to reach out to mentors, to the core team, anyone, feel free to join the discussion there. We're keeping an eye on there, and we're more than happy to help you. And with no further ado, I will stop my screen and I will hand it over to you, Fox. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully share the slides. If I can get this right. Where are we? Okay, this looks promising. Are we seeing the slides? Hey, good. I've done it right. Cool. So yeah, welcome to the component migration session. My name is Sam Beckham. I'm a front-end engineering manager here at GitLab. You can find me at Sam D. Beckham on GitLab or on Twitter. If you ever want to contribute to GitLab, you have any issues with some of the things we're going to talk about today, or you just want some general help getting started contributing, please reach out to me at either one of these. I'm always happy to help. I'm joined today as well by Jeremy Elder, so I'll let Jeremy introduce himself quickly.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. So Jeremy Elder, Senior Product Designer. I'm working primarily on the Foundations team, so focusing on the design system, Pajamas, and helping with this migration effort. And then we also have George on the call too. He's not on the slide, but I don't know if George, if you wanted to introduce yourself, because you're a big time contributor too.
Hello, everyone. My name is George. I've been contributing to GitLab for a long time, and I'm happy to see what Sam and Jeremy are here to talk about.
Cool. Thanks, George. I like the GitPod hoodie as well, by the way. That's gonna tie in nicely to what we talk about a little later. So yeah, a little bit about what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about our migration effort for basically, we want to increase our adoption of our design system here at GitLab. We have a design system. It's called Pajamas. It's amazing. Go check it out. It's at design.gitlab.com. And one of the easiest ways to increase this adoption is by increasing adoption of our component library, which is a series of Vue components that are built in Vue, but to the design system guidelines, right? So the design system is a series of guidelines of how we should design and develop things and how things should be used and things like that. And then the component library is the more sort of engineering side of that, where we've developed these components that meet these guidelines. So if we can increase the adoption of using these components on GitLab, we in turn increase the adoption of actually adhering to our design system guidelines and things like that. There's a nice sort of side effect of this as well. We get to remove Bootstrap from GitLab. So Bootstrap is great at exactly what the name suggests, and that is bootstrapping things. But now that we have our own component library and our own design system, we can start to replace some of those, well, hopefully all of those Bootstrap elements, right? Like that's the whole point of this. And obviously removing Bootstrap has a series of benefits. But sort of overall, why we're doing this, why does, oh, there we go. I have to click the next slide. Yeah, so doing this, it allows us to have a lot more code reuse and a drier code base. So using our component library just means that we're using these components all over the place rather than rewriting them and copy pasting them and things for all of our different views. And this allows us to have faster updates and easier bug fixing. So they're kind of the idea being we fix it in the component and it fixes it for all of the places that we use this component, or we have a slight update to one of the components and we send it out to everywhere that uses that component. If you use component libraries, pattern libraries, design systems, there's all sorts of different names for them. They're all slightly different, but it's all the same kind of thing. They should be quite familiar. Another thing that this helps with for us on the engineering side, at least, is less third-party dependencies, right? So we already said we want to remove Bootstrap. If we can remove Bootstrap, there's also still jQuery in GitLab. Don't judge us too harshly. There's other drop-down libraries and things in there. There's all sorts of third-party dependencies that we kind of have. And using our component library should help us to remove these, so that in theory our big third-party dependency for the front end will just be the component library, which will, it should decrease the bundle sizes. So we're not shipping all of these different libraries and plugins and things. We're just shipping GitLab UI, down the wire to your browser, which results in performance gains because we ship less. Send less code. We should be a bit quicker, right? That's a theory, at least. There's design benefits to this as well, so I'll pass it over to Jeremy to talk about them.
Yeah, so just a few highlights. With the component migration, we're able to have more of a single source of truth rather than what the component behaves or looks like in the product versus the design system. And that traverses over to overarching design philosophies so that we can have a more of a singular mindset when we apply components and use them in a different place. We can document it in one place, have that philosophy defined, and then make sure we're applying it correctly to the product and other use cases. Robust component library, just again, on the documentation side and the philosophy, kind of packaging that all up in one place and making that library a go-to source. Accessibility is huge. That's by having those components migrated, we know that when we're building them and testing them in one place and building the correct parameters and features and attributes to use ARIA and other accessibility features, when we do that in one place and we're able to propagate those into the product, we know that we're doing our best to make sure that our accessibility is robust through the product and that those components as they're used are accessible. And then lastly, just to help avoid visual regression so that we can kind prevent testing a product in one place or a component in one place, and then we go elsewhere and it's impacted by other styles and looks different or behaves different, causing that regression. We're able to have it singularly implemented, used, and styled across the board. So that is why we're doing this from a design standpoint.
Cool, thanks, Jeremy. I was playing hunt the unmute button there. Sorry. Yeah, so this is GitLab UI. This is a screenshot of GitLab UI. This is the component library side of things. There's all sorts of components in here. We've got accordions, badges, date pickers, carousels, all sorts of things. And again, they're all built on the design system. But the ones that we want to focus on for this, so we're saying we want to remove Bootstrap, right? So we're just focusing on alerts, pagination, popovers, tooltips, buttons, drop-downs, tabs, and modals. We focus on these. We can, in theory, remove Bootstrap and get them performance gains from not having to ship Bootstrap is the idea. So the component library and the design system, they're pretty big and they're growing all the time. If we had a thing where we said replace everything, we'd be here forever, right? So we've scoped it down to the Bootstrap size of things. So current progress, some of you might realize this is not the first time we've given this presentation, right? We did this in the last hackathon and we had loads of contributions. We've got a good way done, but like I say, we had, I'm bad at maths, but what's that, 800, 900 issues? Like that's a lot of issues to go through, and we've done really well at getting through most of them, like almost 600 there. There's maths on the fly, like I'm really struggling with that. But yeah, thanks for your contributions, right? For the Haml migration epic, so this is a part that I've been looking at. Special call outs to Jilang, Lakshich, Kopo, and Gary. Like there's all sorts of people that have contributed to this, but these were some notable ones. We couldn't get it done without you, right? Which is why we're back here asking for more help to get it through and over the finish line. There's links to both the epics here. We've kind of done a Haml one and a Vue one, yeah, I'll go over the Haml one a little bit more later on. But I don't know if Jeremy wants to talk about the Vue one and how we're doing with the Vue migration so far.
Yeah, really quick. As you can see, getting really close to completion here. So want to emphasize, just could use help getting that across the line, and then really emphasize the help for the Haml piece of this as well, because we won't be able to fully reach our performance goals and gains until everything is complete. So, but again, we've had some great community contributions and really, really thankful for that. So.
Cool. We've got these fancy charts as well for the remigration. I don't know if you want to speak to them as well, Jeremy.
Yeah, I can go through this quickly. Just some highlights. You could show kind of our burn down for the effort here, and this one is getting really, really tiny. So there's not much left, as you can see. Out of this one, I believe looks like 6 issues remaining, specifically for buttons and alerts. We can go to the next slide. Here we're taking a look at drop downs, modals, tabs. You can see it's 5 left. So we're getting extremely close. Next slide. And finally, popovers, tooltips, 3 left here. So we're on the home stretch with Vue. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so you can probably see from these charts that the Vue migration is going incredibly well. We don't have charts like that for the Haml migration, but we do have this nice table. We're not doing quite as well with the Haml stuff. We need a bit more help here. The Haml stuff, it's been a little more slow going, but the things like the alerts and the buttons, they're quite small. They're pretty simple to pick up. I'll show you a little bit more on that later on. There's also a video from the last one where I took you through how to do an alert and how to tackle that. If you look at like the alerts and the buttons, we're really close with them ones. The alerts is actually, we've done 2 more since I took this screenshot, so we're at about 90-something% now with them. And buttons, you know, we're just under half, but there's a lot there, right? We've still done 77. That's pretty good. And that's 77 groups of pages, not 77 individual buttons, right? It's quite misleading. There's a lot of buttons that we need to update. Things like the modals, the drop downs, and the tabs. There's not a lot of work done on these, and the majority of that reason is because to use GitLab UI for these, they're a bit more interactive. We have to realistically turn it into a view app as well, which has a lot more overhead and a lot more thinking about. So we need to figure out good ways to do that. But what I really want to drive today is these buttons, right? So if we can get contributions in for migrating some of these buttons, and we can get it up past that 50, 60, 70% mark, I'll be very happy. And I think it's attainable. We can absolutely get there. And simply because our old motto, right, of everyone can contribute. So that's everyone within the wider community. That's everyone who works at GitLab. That's just everyone, right? Anyone who's not contributed before, you could have contributed a lot of times. Let's just, you know, the barrier to entry is pretty low here. So if you want to contribute to these, there is the view migration epic. So there's still some potentially some issues left on there if you want to pick up some of the view migration and help out that effort. There's also the HAML migration epic, which has all of the HAML ones that we need to move over, and both of these have sub issues or sub epics with more issues and things to pick up in there. And most of these issues, they do just contain small chunks of work, right? So it's just lots of small chunks. So they're great for first-time contributors. They're great for, you know, getting them contributions in, kind of thing.
Yeah. Sam, do you mind if I jump in really quick and share and show how you might navigate the epic to find available issues to contribute to?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
All right. I think I'll need permission or for you to stop sharing first, if you don't mind. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Can you see the slide once again, the how to contribute? Awesome. So I'll just per the slide here. Let's say, you know, I went to this Epic link, and GitLab Epic is kind of a high-level collection of issues. You can see in this instance, this is for Vue. And here you'll see this epics and issues list. So we have issues listed in here. And the way this one is broken down in particular, you can ignore the percentages for right now. They're not updated. But you would just choose one of these. Let's just say dropdowns, modals, tabs, navigate into that specific issue, and you'll find it broken up into other items. And I believe these all link to epics for those. So if we saw, okay, 3 of 8, let's click into that epic. Each epic should have instructions on how to actually go through the work. So as Sam mentioned, it's really easy to have like a first time contribution, or really easy to just jump in and do a few of these at a time and knock them out pretty quick. So there's kind of instructions, troubleshooting, etc. And then you'll see epics and issues. You'll see this other list where you can find open issues and ones that have been closed. The closed ones are great to go through if you know, first time, as examples of maybe some of the threads or conversation of how somebody made the change, or just to kind of look at how some of that was done as an example. And then finally, you would just click into one of the open ones. Go ahead and feel free to assign yourself and work through it, and you know, create a merge request off of that. So I think that's a quick overview. I'll stop sharing and back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Jeremy. Let me just figure out the thing again to stop to, yeah, that's the right one. Got too many desktops. I'm always worried I'll share the wrong one. Yeah, we're back on the slides, right? Oh, spoiler. Yeah, so GitPod is the last thing I want to talk about today, right? So GitPod's fantastic. It makes contributing even easier, right? So a lot of the issues that I heard from people on contributing to this in the first place, yes, making the change in the code is pretty easy, but the hard part is seeing where you've made that change and getting the local environment running. And it's a lot to install the GDK, which is our GitLab development kit, and all of the dependencies and all of that thing, just to make a change to a button. So with GitPod, like it's like a 2-click install thing. It's really easy. I'm not going to show you how to do that exactly, because while it is 2 clicks, the time between click 1 and click 2 is about 15 minutes while it loads all of the things in the background. But there's a video on YouTube. I think Christos is going to link the slides later on, so you can find that on there. But what I will show you is, if I've got time, the 10-minute demo I showed last time is now a 5-minute demo thanks to GitPod, right? So I'll see if I can get it even lower than this. So this is GitPod, right? It looks very similar to VS Code if you've ever used VS Code. And this little window here is your local-ish, in the cloud, whatever you want to say, dev environment of GitLab. And any changes we make to this file here, or any of the files over here in our file tree, they'll get made over here. So I need to log back in because I've been logged out. Let me, oh, don't look at that. There we go. So these are just using the normal default username and passwords that you would for any GitLab instance, right? It's root and then 5 life, but it's done with numbers and things. And oh, of course, there's an error. This is what I get for live coding. Oh, will it play nice? Hey, we got away with it. So yeah, I'm just going to go through this issue here, and we've got some buttons that need migration. There's the majority of these were done. Can't remember who it was by, but this last one's still left outstanding, so we can just quickly do this one, right? I've prepared the file already, so it's this file we need to look at, and it's one of the wiki forms. So if I go to, in fact, we'll open this in a new window so you can see it a bit better. So this is still the dev environment, it's just opened in a new window. If we go to a project, go to the wiki for that project, it's a little slow because it is a local dev environment, right? But it's local in the cloud, so you have to bear with it a little. Create the first page. So yeah, here we are. These are the buttons we want to change. So we want to make these the new GitLab UI versions of the buttons. And in this case, all we need to do is these ones down here. This cancel button. We've got GL button on it already, but it actually needs to be not button grouped. It needs to be button default. And that's the same with this one here. So this one is button default. And then these success buttons, yeah, they are missing the GL button class. Is this one too? Yeah. So if we just save that and then go back over to here, the way to tell if these buttons are right, the thing that gives it away, if you look on the border when I hover over it, you see it's nice and thin. And then when we refresh, we should have the new buttons, which have a slightly thicker border. Like obviously do a little bit more inspecting to make sure it's right, but I'm trying to get this done quickly, so I'm rushing through. But yeah, you see we've got them thick borders. We do on the, it's harder to see on that one, but it is there. So you get your screenshots from here, create your merge request, make sure you do it in actual GitLab, not your local dev environment, and no one will see it. And you've got your terminal here, so you can just use your normal Git commands. So use, create a branch, add them to it. I've got database changes in there, so I don't have them, but you get the point. It's a bit quicker to do it through GitPod than it is to do everything locally, and this it just takes a couple of seconds to get this started. But do look at that video I have on YouTube as well. That goes a little bit more in depth and doesn't skim over things as much as I've done there. So yeah, there's my 5-minute demo. Some tips for contributing. Again, we've just been over it, but you can use GitPod to set up a local environment really easily, as I've hopefully just shown you there. There are migration tips and troubleshooting help in the epics, as Jeremy showed earlier. There's, it talks you through it in the epics and the issues as well. You can follow discussions and solutions in issues and merge requests. Again, as Jeremy mentioned, look at some of the closed ones to see how they've gone. And ping the right people, right? So reach out to someone on the front end or UX Foundations team, reach out to myself, reach out to Jeremy. I'm going to say George as well, but apologies if I shouldn't have said that, George. He's very friendly. He'll at least send you to the right person if he's busy, right? But yeah, and happy contributing, right? Like, thank you for listening, and preemptively thank you for contributing again, because your contributions were super helpful last time, and it's part of what makes GitLab great for me. So it's good to see. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going over to Gitter to see whether there are any questions. Not so far. There are a few people watching live on YouTube as far as I see. Cool. If there's nothing else from your side, thank you. I personally learned a lot. Thank you for your time. And for people watching, you can find all the information on the Hackathon page. I've uploaded the recording and the slide deck as well. So yeah, feel free to check it out. If you have any questions, you can find us on Gitter, or you can tag the appropriate people on the merge requests. And also the links to the epics, right? They're inside the slide deck for some issues for people to contribute to.
Yeah. Is there an easier place to share them links, Christos?
Yes, I will share them on the Gitter. On Slack, there is a bridge between Gitter and Slack. So if you go on Slack, Gitter-contributors-room, you can throw them in there.
Cool, thank you. I'll share them in there.
Pleasure. Thank you, folks. Wishes for a great evening or rest of your day, in case that you're in a earlier time zone. So thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing, and I'll see you all online.
Thanks for having us. Take care, everyone.
Yep, thank you.